If you feel like you're not making progress in your career, you're not alone. I feel this way at least once a year. Even early on in my career when I was moving up and making more money, I still wanted more. I started in beverage about 17 years ago. I went from selector to forklift operator and then to logistics lead, all within about a year of each other. But even then, I wasn't ever really satisfied. When I moved into route sales, it was the same thing. I'd be happy for about 6 months to a year, and then I needed something new. A new route, new accounts, new challenges, bigger conversations. I am not built to stay comfortable. So I started doing things outside of the actual job description. I'd make deals with district managers, regional managers, actual buyers, and I'd ask to lead meetings. I would bring in books that I was reading and actually break them down and give book reports during our monthly sales huddles. And at this time, I was just a route sales rep. I want to tell you about 3 books that really changed everything for me as far as selling goes. The first one was Getting Past No. This really helped me out with negotiation. The second one was The Challenger Sell. This started helping me think less like a sales rep and more like a consultant. And the last one was Sam Walton's Made in America. This really helped me start understanding Walmart. I knew that this was one of my most challenging customers, and I needed to understand them from the inside out and face this challenge head on if I was ever going to get better at selling at Walmart. This last one was huge because Walmart was one of my toughest customers. So instead of avoiding it, I studied it. When you talk to a retailer, you need to be able to speak their language. These are a few things that I listen for that I think are the most important. Number 1, what do they call their staffs? And then, what do they call a display? And what are their priorities? I'm gonna break down Walmart just so you have an idea of what I'm talking about whenever I say we are going to start learning and speaking our customers' languages. So let's start off with a hierarchy. So they call their people associates. This is an entry-level role in Walmart. And then it moves up to leads and then coaches. Now these leads and coaches each have different departments. So leads will kind of be a person that you defer to and you want to have a better relationship with, but coaches have the final say in each of their departments whenever you're asking them for any type of placement. And then the final boss is the store manager. Ultimately, this person makes the final say, but they can defer to coaches to handle their department. It doesn't always happen that way, but most of the time, good store managers of Walmart will defer to their coaches. Now let's talk about what they call particular placements. So the main placement is called a side counter. This is the main shopping area, the destination place for any customer that's walking down the aisles for where they're going to get the products that they're looking for. Now, whenever you're talking about displays, Walmart actually calls these features. So if you ever approach them and you want to talk about setting up a display in their store, you always want to lead with the word feature, or you can refer to it directly as where you want to place it. And an end cap is somewhat self-explanatory. So at the end of the gondolas, there are display opportunities on either side, and these are called end caps. A next smaller display is going to be on the side of an end cap, which we'll talk about here in just a second, but this side cap is actually called a sidekick rack. We normally call pallets or pallet drops just that. We bring in a pallet worth of product and we drop it onto the floor. Walmart calls this a stack base, and a half pallet would be called a half stack base. The smallest version of a display that sits directly on the floor is called a side stack for Walmart. And this is a small display on the floor and it's about the same size as a sidekick. So it would hold about 10 to 12 cases and it sits on a plastic platform that Walmart provides, or you can bring your own. I want to break down business priorities for Walmart now. Walmart's number 1 thing is going to be modular placements. Now associates will call these mods. So anything that is actually blueprinted or mapped to the store is going to be a modular. So anything on a gondola, usually up front, all of that stuff is modded, meaning that there are specific planograms and specific products that are supposed to go in these places. This is important for a few reasons, because online is everything now for Walmart, and they do have shoppers that use an app called Spark, and they also have digital associates that walk around and pick and select product for people that are ordering online. So it's really important to them that all of the modulars are set properly and that the correct product is in the right space. Next for priorities for Walmart is going to be anything private label, which is Walmart branded. It used to be Great Value. I believe it's a different name now. And anything that gets shipped in from their warehouse. Usually they get big pallets of like chips and candy, and other general merchandise items that come in, and those are always going to be a priority to get those Walmart items that come in from their warehouse out onto the floor and make sure that they're selling those first. The last priority for a Walmart store manager or coach is going to be vendor items. Now, that's not to say that we're not a priority at all for them. A lot of Walmarts do appreciate their vendors, but these are some things that you can bring to their attention whenever it comes to having a vendor provided item that will get their attention. So if you're running any type of programs in Walmart, that is going to get their attention. We're talking rollbacks, or if you have a new or exclusive item in any high velocity package that is going to be a sales leader for them. Anytime that you can show them data that we are trending with a certain product, this will get their attention. And lastly, I'm going to throw in a little bonus tip for everybody. So all Walmarts have an upfront map. It's kind of like a modular, but it's upfront, and it's a blueprint that says everything that should be in those locations in the store at every register. This shows you what kind of coolers are supposed to go in these places and what department controls any particular modded area in that store. Once you dial it down granularly, every one of these coolers and modular placements has a specific planogram that Walmart follows. Now, there is occasionally some toss-ups where you will get a vendor item on a register end cap. This is how you talk Walmart store lingo. So I literally just gave you the cheat code. You're welcome. The point is, when you use a retailer's language, your ideas are going to land differently. You buy yourself more time with that retailer, and you actually start poising yourself as an actual consultant that understands their business from the inside out, not just a salesman who's trying to sell them on an idea and then never be seen again. I mentioned earlier that I always wanted to grow and get better and move on. At some point, I knew I needed to learn more, but I really didn't have the money or the time. I was dealing with a family of 4, and I was working a 60+ hour job a week. There was no way I was going to be able to go back to school. My wife is in education, and she reminded me there's this really cool building in the middle of town that is devoted to nothing but self-learning. It's called the library. Now, I know that seems kind of nerdy and weird, but I decided that I was going to take control of my own destiny and how I was going to learn. So I hopped into the library, and this is what I discovered. I'm going to give you my little library hack. All business books start at around $6.50. The one that really hit for me was $658.8. This is marketing and sales. This section of the library changed my life. This is where I started going in and pulling books off of the shelf that had anything to do with sales and marketing. And that's where I discovered those few books that I talked to you about earlier in the podcast. As I was reading these books, I would always have a notes app open, or I have a notebook by me because I knew I couldn't highlight or actually write in the margins on these books. So I would bring a notebook, I would take notes, I would take pictures and do markup on my phone so I could highlight ideas. The premise of this was, whenever I write things down, or whenever you write things down, you're 70% more likely to remember them. Reading book after book after book didn't necessarily make me a sales genius, but it did help me start to create and open my mind to different ways to create my own systems. As I started doing that, I started up-leveling my game and started getting recognized in different ways. It didn't happen overnight, and it took a long time for me to actually get there, but I would say that it opened my eyes to me being able to take control over becoming the best version of myself that I could be, and not having to exhaust a lot of resources, time, money, and sacrifice moments with my family to actually learn a little bit more about my business and get better at what I do. Whenever I was getting frustrated because I felt like I was stalling out or things were getting stale, I started to remind myself that every day is a new starting line. You can let life decide where you go, or you can guide yourself. The more you study your business, the more disciplined you are in your day-to-day routine, the stronger your brand becomes, and the better that next starting line looks.